Good morning once again. Welcome back. It's been a long time since we last saw you, about 30 minutes or so. Welcome back to Game 2 of today, the 8th day of this competition. Well, 7th day of the men's competition, 8th day if you count the women's game as well, which of course concluded last night with a thrilling game between Argentina and Japan, which was narrowly won by Argentina in the end through some brilliance by their striking duo of Aguiar and Souza. But today we've got quarter-final number 2 now between Japan and China. We just had a fascinating clash which spilled over in the end. Emotions were running high. Deserved winners in the end. Argentina progress onto the semi-finals. They were fantastic, actually, and a really good goal for them as well, having already missed a penalty in that game. But our attention now turns to Japan-China. And we've got Colombia versus Iran, France versus Brazil later to conclude the quarterfinals. The two teams wander out. And there's a good contingent of Japanese fans in the stands as well, making their voices known too. They've really been intense in the warm-ups, both sides. The coaching staff really had those drills going very aggressively in each half. And they'll be ready and raring for this one, but we'll cross over now for the national anthems of both Japan and China.
For the national anthem of Japan. Please remain standing if you are able for the national anthem of China.
起来，不愿做奴隶的人们，把我们的血肉筑成我们心灵长城。中华民族到了最危险的时候，每个人被迫着发出最后的吼声。起来，起来，起来！我们万众一心，冒着电力炮火前进，冒着电力炮火前进，前进，前进！
Great to see some other students as well from the University of Birmingham, it looks like, down supporting their countries. The national anthems there for both Japan and China. Round 2 of the quarterfinals then between Japan and China. We'll take a look at the two teams. Starting with the Japanese. In goal then, Daisuke Sato is the goalkeeper today. Number 3, Sasaki. Number 6, Hirabayashi. Number 8, Goto. And number 10, Kawamura, the captain today. And on the bench for Japan, Izumi, Kuroda, Tanaka, Tori and Sonobe. And then the head coach, Eiji Nakagawa. And the guide there, Ebayashi. As for China, In goal, number 12, Zhu. Number 3, Liu. Number 6, Zhang, the captain. Number 7, Yutan Yu. And number 11, Ruming Ji. And then the substitutes there, the goalkeeper Wang, Heifu Li, Zhu and Zhao. And then the head coach Gushen Wang. And the guide Jin Li. Well, these two sides have been, they've battled out some close encounters to get to this first stage of the knockout phase, if you like. Japan opened things up with a 1-1 draw with Italy, followed that up with a good 2-1 win over Turkey, some of which are in the crowd actually to watch this one, which was a good result for them. And then finally, China beat England by 1-0 as well, and China, they beat Germany 2-0, so they've had a good contest so far. A goalless draw with Argentina too, so some pretty solid results there for them.
Yeah, so it's quite a difficult one to call this. They've virtually got an identical playing record, really. Obviously, they've both played 3, and they've scored 3 goals each. And Japan have conceded 1. China have yet to concede a goal. So, it's going to be quite difficult to see which way this is going to go. And, 2 countries from the Asian region, and, both of them really very much up and atom style type of thing. They defend in numbers. So I'm looking forward to a good game. It's going to be high energy and it's going to be very, very fast. Then a bit later on, we've got Colombia-Iran, which is Colombia, one of my particular favourite teams. They're a cracking side and full of energy, and we're going to round the quarterfinals off with the France-Brazil game, and that could go either way. Brazil are not playing particularly well, or not up to Brazilian standards, and the French have played quite well going through the group stages, so that's a really good clash as well. And then we move on to some lower placement games to round the day off. And so this one difficult to call. I see we'll see the Japanese defending with 4 wherever the ball is. There'll be 4 Japanese players around it for sure, and Chinese pretty similar. Really, they do the same sort of thing. So I just hope that they don't cancel each other out, and we get some goal-mouth action for you. But it'll be fast and furious. Whatever the even if there's no goals scored, it will be fast and furious, and that's for sure.
And is this relatively new in terms of the sport for China and Japan? Have they always sort of fiercely competed like the other nations?
Well, 20 years ago there was no China team at all, and about 6 years before the Beijing Olympics, and they realised that football was going to be one of the Paralympic sports, they sent a group of people right around the world, go into different training camps and look in, and they come to St George's Park and had a look. They went to the French Centre and had a look. They went over to South America and watched them coach and train. And they sort of went back to China and picked up all the best ideas from around the world and introduced that to the Chinese players, and they've been building since then. So they're a really good side now, and they've come a long way in a very short time. Japan, as far as I can remember, have always been in the World Cups and sort of Asian Championships, and but obviously they've moved on from Tokyo. Was it? When was Tokyo? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was the last Olympics, wasn't it?
Was it?
Paralympics?
Yeah. So obviously they invested a lot of money to get their team up to speed for that. But we're away. We can have a bit more from me a bit later.
I'll tell you what, it was interesting. The respect between the referees and the coaches prior to kick-off really sort of respectful handshakes taking place there, which was a contrast to the way the Italians interacted with the officials a few moments ago in the end of the last game. But we're underway, as Dixie says, and an early free kick for China.
Yeah, it's indirect. Must have been an obstruction or something, so it won't go against the foul count. Yeah, they're very respectful, these two teams, of the officials, and there certainly won't be any of the histrionics that we saw in the previous game, that's for sure.
Great run by Yu here, just sizing up his options, sort of hovering over the halfway line, nearer the kickboard on this near side where the coaches are. Still going, Zhu still in possession, really in control of the ball. Just weighing up his options left and right. He's got to his right Zhu. He hasn't released the pass just yet. Still going here. It's a fascinating run, Yu, and an excellent pass as well to find Zhang. And Zhang is out on that far side in front of the main stand wearing the captain's armbands, and he switches from left to right, goes from the kickboard by the main stand to the board nearer the coaches, and it's a good through ball through to Zhu, but he's quickly stopped in his tracks by Hirabayashi. Hirabayashi then hands over to Goto, who moves up over the halfway line. Still with the Chinese number 11, Rumin Zhu. And there could be a chance there, and he's bundled to the ground there, Masaki Goto. Upfield it goes towards the Chinese number 11. China, in case you were wondering, in their all-red kit today, red socks, red shorts, red shirts, and conversely Japan wearing all blue, dark blue. And here are the Japanese on the attack now, kicking from right to left in this game towards the coffee end, as we've named it, where we are being refueled in between fixtures. China in possession, tucked inside their own half. The Chinese player there, surrounded by Japanese players. The number 11, Ruming Zhu, was the man on the ball, but it's now switched from right to left in front of the main stand. And all of the onlookers, a good crowd in today for the quarterfinals, Super Tuesdays, we're billing it. It's been a fast start to this game. Lots of in-play action, not too many free kicks as Zhu is pushed further against the board on that far left-hand side. Kawamura was the player tackling him. It's been laid off to the number 3, Ming Lu. Here comes Ming Lu now for China, over the halfway line, out of the centre circle, up over the offensive third for the Chinese, but he's trapped back by 2 Japanese players, and this has been a breathless start to this game.
Yeah, it's a right contrast in styles as well. You've got the patience of the Chinese passing it from side to side, looking for an angle, and then you've got the all-action Japanese running at great pace directly into the heart of the Chinese defence. So contrasting styles, and so far so good. It looks like it's going to warm up into a good game, I think.
Here's Zhebin Zhang. Looks for the through pass using the kickboard in front of the main stand, which, as I say, has a smattering of fans across it, which is great to see. Wearing different colours, the likes of Turkey up there as well, watching on. I think the German side are up there too, not involved until later today. Here's the number 6, Zhebin Zhang for China, looking to force a way through right in the centre spot on the edge of the D. Just about to pull the trigger and unleash a shot on goal, but he couldn't quite find his footing, and that has trickled all the way through for what I thought was a goal clearance, but I think a timeout has been called or something.
I think the referee just wants to check the number 7's eye shades or something, and perhaps moved or something, and he wants to be 100% sure that they're correctly located, and for some unknown reason the Japanese coach is getting involved in this. I don't see what it's got to do with him really, but the referee seems happy.
That was a fast start to the game though. We've had 4 minutes already,
and he's run across the other side to have a look at another Chinese player. Bit of a mystery, but hopefully we can get going. Looks like we're all right now.
Just as I open a bottle of sparkling water, which spills all over me. The referee's still not happy with something. He just trots across from left to right as we see it from the Chinese side of things. He's having a chat with the other referee on the touchline. I wonder what...
I think something's happened over there, and the third referee is reporting it to the main referee. He's now pointing... He's pointing to the third and just reinforcing to the Japanese coach that he can only talk when the ball is in his third, which is quite right, but let's try and do it all a little bit quicker, chaps.
We're off again. The football's not been slow, that's for sure. Number 6, Jaebin Zhang, switches the play from left to right, up to Yu Tan Yu. Yu Tan Yu tries to advance on the edge of the D, on the side in front of the scaffolding, which is housing our camera at the top to give you this aerial view of the pitch. And now China are in possession. No real pressure on the ball, just outside their own defensive third. Make it up to the halfway line now. Again, the danger man, it appears, is Zhu Tanzhu. He's seen most of the ball so far, but here comes Jaebin Zhang. Jaebin Zhang trying to muscle his way past all 4 Japanese outfield players on the edge of the D. And it's going to be a corner for the Chinese.
Yeah, talking about that tower, it's not so bad today, but there was a few days last week and it was lashing down with rain, and I did feel for the cameraman up there.
We thought poor old Alec might get blown off and end up over at the judo.
Yeah, it was absolutely lashing down, and he was up there with his little umbrella, and which was really no use at all, and getting soaked where we were nice and dry in this pop-up gazebo.
Ru Minzu and Yu Tan Yu are on corner duty, and it will be Ru Minzu to take the ball away. Moves back towards the halfway line, just consolidates and looks to almost start the move again. There's an element of that with this football whereby the players seem to almost, as a way of gathering their bearings on the pitch, kind of head back towards their own goal before restarting the move, just as the Japanese come forward again. That looked like a trip initially, but actually I think it's an excellent challenge from the Chinese number 3, Ming Lu.
Gone out for a corner.
But there is an element of that where they sort of go back and consolidate, get their bearings, and then try and attack again.
Yeah, they tend to do a really big arc and get back into the centre circle. What it also does is it draws the defence out a little bit. So what they're hoping to do is draw the defence out a couple of yards and then to put a pass into the area they've just left, where hopefully one of their colleagues has gone into. So that's what they're hoping will happen. But it also settles them down as well because they get some decent touches on the ball.
Hirabayashi takes the corner, but it looks as though the Chinese are going to hold firm. Picked back up by Hirabayashi on this near side. Next to the kickboard, he's pinned against it by one of the Chinese players as we look down on it. And it's spilled out up towards the halfway line again. Picked up by China, though, just inside their own half. They move up over the halfway line through Ru Mingzu. He's forced all the way down to the corner on the near side and crowded out again by all 4 Japanese players in this corner that have rushed across. Back he goes, consolidates and finds his number 7, Yu Tan Yu, just inside the Japanese half again, central to the goal. Lovely footwork from him. He's just going back and forth, just sizing up his options, but he's got both wingers out against each kickboard. He finds one out on that far side, but unfortunately his touch is a bit heavy. It was Jaebin Zhang that was out there. Jaebin Zhang, though, just tries to make up for that heavy touch and chases after the ball, but it's gone out for a goal clearance for the Japanese that Daisuke Sato will look to take quickly, which he does. He immediately finds his number 10, Kawamura. Kawamura switches play out to the far side. Hirabayashi picks the ball up against the kickboard in front of the media team. He spreads the play back out to the far side again. It's been side-to-side stuff so far in this game. And the number 8, Goto, picks the ball up. He immediately sends it back the other way to Hirabayashi once more, who's immediately pinned stomach against the kickboard and has his pockets picked by the 11, Ru Minzu, who has a chance on goal here. Ru Minzu, will it spill over the line? It has! And that was a complete scramble goal. I'm not sure who it came off last.
It's the Japanese own goal. The 10, it come off the 10's back, I'm sure it did.
And the goalkeeper for China, Zhu Hayashi, brings everybody together to celebrate here as one. But it was all from the work and I guess the real tenaciousness of Rumin-Zhu that...
Well, he just didn't give it up, did he? He just kept going. He thought, well, there might be something on the end of this for me. And he's got in there. And to be fair, the Japanese goalkeeper has not done the best, really.
I think he loses sight of it, the Japanese goalkeeper as well. And then it comes off the back of the number 3, Sasaki, for Japan in the end.
Looking at it again, he's made the save with his feet. He's pinned to the ground by the Chinese lad's gone on top of him, and his defenders come in to help him out. He's gone down. Yeah, it's gone off the number 10's back, isn't it?
Yeah, relatively early goal though. 6-7 minutes into this encounter in the second quarter-final of the day. Argentina already through, and first blood to China against Japan here, and it was... I think really it came off the back of the number 3 for Japan in the end, Sasaki, and he will be the person that goes down on the sheet as the one who picked up the own goal. We just had a checking of the eye mask there for China.
Yeah, they've just done a substitution, haven't they?
Haifu Li has just come on for China as well, so a first substitution of the game for them.
Yeah, that come from nothing, didn't it? It was absolute...
The player to make way was Yutan Yu for China as well. And Haifu Li has come on in his place. And here is Li now, attacking really well. And just again, going from left to right, just hovering around the centre circle at the moment. Slight miscontrol from him, but he recovers. Really excellent football, actually, from China. They've been just weighing up their options, moving from left to right, right to left.
They're very patient, aren't they, China, when they got the ball?
They really are, and they're robust in the challenge as well, as Rumin-Zhu there forces the number 3, Sasaki, the culprit for the own goal, off the ball. Not too much Sasaki could have done about the own goal in the end. It just so happened it came off him last. It's in the China half now, just tucked inside the halfway line with their number 6, Zhaibin Zhang. Zhang plays a neat pass through to Zhu. Zhu will now attack against the kickboard on the right-hand side. But again, all of the 4 outfield players for Japan crowding around the Chinese player. And what it does then, it frees up all the other Chinese players across the rest of the park. But this time, Zhu is unable to find any of them. And now there's this sort of stalemate situation again, just inside the Japanese half. China come away with it though, and a second chance maybe for them. It spills out as far as Li. Li will take it on here, tries to orchestrate some room. Now inside the offensive third, attacking the Japanese goal. Japan hold firm for now. It's with their number 10, Kawamura, who releases Hirabayashi down the left-hand side. Hirabayashi, though, is thwarted in his attack by Li. And Li will look to come away with the ball now. Here's Zhaibin Zhang down the right-hand side of the pitch. He's blocked off, though, by 2 Japanese players. He's made his way into the box in his very bright turquoise Mizuno boots and lays the ball back to Rumin-Zhu. Rumin-Zhu now will look to take on some Japanese players. 6 minutes left on the clock. Shoots from range. A fabulous effort on goal. He's taken a bit of an awkward tumble against the kickboard. He was on the near side. He just fires and rifles over the crossbar. And then Japan get us going quickly again. And I think that will go out for a goal clearance. It does just that.
Okay, we're having a little... Okay, he's just warning the Chinese guy behind the goal, then close to us. He's encroaching on the pitch every now and again. He's not allowed to do that. He's got a guy from behind the goal.
They're allowed to come on and celebrate, though, aren't they?
Well, yeah. When the game's dead, it's fine. But if a game's in play, he's not allowed to come on the pitch at all. He's interfering with the goalkeeper.
The only real stoppages we've had so far have been for the guidance for the guides and the coaching staff. It's been a really fast-paced game as we approach the final 5 minutes of the first half.
Yet again, the players on the pitch have been impeccable. Yeah. And the same can't be said for the coaching staff.
China have been superb so far, I have to say. One of the more impressive performances I feel I've seen in the men's game as it goes forward there for Rumin-Zhu. They're turning up just when it matters the most in these knockout stages, but a chance here for Japan. Through on goal. but held up at the last inside the Chinese defensive D. Here's the number 8 for Japan now, Goto, and he lays it off to Hirabayashi on the left-hand side, outside the D this time against the kickboard, but the kickboard in front of the coaches. It's taken over and then won back by the number 11, Rumin Zhu, who's been so impressive in this game. Almost nutmegs the number 3 there for Japan, Sasaki.
That was a foul against the Chinese lad's running through with a ball, and he's been tugged by the Japanese lad, and the referee originally played a little bit of an advantage. It was clear there's no advantage occurred. So he's taking it back, and we're going to have a free kick. Well, halfway through the Japanese half.
I thought Rumin Zhu was going to require some treatment there. He just sat down for a minute. I think he was breathing very deeply, and then the referee reminded that if the physio comes on, he'll have to go off. So he was straight back on his feet at that point, and he relinquishes free kick duty to his colleagues, number 8 and number 6. Li and Zhang, and he makes his way out to the kickboard on the far side by the main stand. The free kick's being taken about 2 or 3 metres from the kickboard on the near side where the coaches are, just level with the start of the D, but further back just over the halfway line. 2-person wall for the Japanese. Hirabayashi and Goto make it up. Just behind them is Sasaki, and poised in the Japanese goal is Daisuke Sato, and he has just made sure that his wall lines up with his near post. The Japanese are poised, and we're back underway, and it's with China, and there's a bit of a trip on the ball from the number 8, Li, but he's back to his feet and battling hard with those Japanese defenders. Back it goes to Zhang. Zhang picks the ball up, turns back towards his own goal, but he's still inside the Japanese half, and he's gone from one kickboard on the right-hand side where the coaches are all the way over to the far side and meets up with Rumin Zhu, but he's going to go it alone. That's a fabulous challenge by Hirabayashi there, the number 10. Now it's with Karamura, the captain for Japan, who spreads the play to the near side and uses the kickboard there for Goto. Goto now, he's got some support in Hirabayashi just behind him. The kickboard on the near side is where they're tucked up against, but he's going it alone into the side netting from Goto. Was there a touch there? No, I think it will be a goal clearance. A bit of a timeout for the referee. Yeah,
there's the Japanese player just ended up in the side netting as well, so the referee's just checking on him, make sure he's okay, and he is. So yes, it's entertaining stuff, and it's all action. We've seen in this first half the way the Japanese defend. I said in the other commentary, you chuck a blanket up and you catch all 4 of them as it landed. Wherever the ball is, the 4 of them won't be far away. And it's very effective. The downside of it is you have to work extremely hard. If you play a team that switches it from side to side, that means the 4 of you are running across the pitch and then back across all the time. So China have got the ball on the halfway line.
I'm really admiring the way the Chinese are playing, and nothing of note has necessarily happened for the last sort of 30 seconds, but China have just kept the ball right on the halfway line and just taking their time, being so patient, real close control, and now they choose to attack, and effectively so. Off goes Zhang. He's up against the kickboard next to the main stand. He's got support and gets the cry from Zhu. Obviously really good communicators out there, the Chinese side. Zhu now just hovering on the attacking third line. Lovely bit of close control from him up to the edge of the D. He's just crowded out at the last second, and that goes behind for a goal clearance. But really is remarkable stuff from China. That passage of play there was just a joy to watch. Real patient build-up.
Yeah, they are very patient, and they bide their time. And then the guide will say, obviously he says it in Chinese, but he says something like, let's go. And they just put the foot down and they go into the spaces like that. It's very effective, especially against a team like Japan, because as I say, the 4 of them follow the ball. So if China can switch the ball 2 or 3 times, that means that those 4 players are going across, back and across, and eventually as a gap appears and they can get in until we're having a timeout to Japan.
They're not the biggest in structure in terms of either side, but it's not that reason that they make the pitch look so much bigger. It feels like it's a...
Yeah, they just use every little bit of it, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And because they're communicating so well and well spaced out, they're just utilising the space, whereas maybe Japan defensively are a bit more crowded, but certainly in the game before, it just was a very frantic encounter. And we're just seeing replays of the goal again. You feel it's a harsh one for Japan, but it eventually does come off the number 3.
I think it's the number 10. You have a look from this angle.
And it's all down to the pressure that the Chinese player puts on. Oh, yeah, it is the number 10, you are correct. Yeah, the number 10, an own goal for Kawamura. But what that angle did give us is a view of how many fans have collected on the hill just behind the goal as well, which is great to see. So strong support for both of these nations who are looking to progress into the semi-finals to play against the side that got through the last game, Argentina. Some umbrellas there, but that is to block the shade for a change.
Yes, no rain today. Another ambulance.
Another ambulance. Two things that are usually guaranteed in Birmingham, rain and ambulances.
Seems to be. I don't know if we're close to a hospital here or not.
We are.
Right. Well, that would explain it, because I was getting a little bit worried about the number of ambulances that are going up and down that road.
Yes. My voice might need a trip to the hospital after all of this talking today.
Yes, it is pretty intense, isn't it? You know, we're here for, 10 hours? 11 hours? 12 hours? It was 12 hours yesterday, that's for sure.
2.5 minutes remaining as the whistle blows. Free kick for Japan, which they try to use quickly. A good shot at goal by Hirabayashi, but straight into the clutches of Zhu.
Yeah, it was a good effort by the Japanese there. Worked an angle, got a bit of an opening, he's unleashed a right-footed shot, but it was unfortunately straight at the keeper, and he's just gathered it up. And we're off with China again on the halfway line, playing their patient football.
Yep, sticking to their principles. Zhang, still in possession, has been for about 15-20 seconds, just hovering on that halfway line. Plays the ball across the park to the number 8, Li, who is the first half substitute for China. He's immediately swarmed by Japanese players who choose to press at that exact moment. Whether they got a cry from the guy that's covering that middle third, I don't know. But Zhang now has the ball in his possession, and of course China have the advantage, so in these moments they can be as patient as they like and find a way through to the end of the game. A minute and a half left of this first half.
Just wind the clock down. It's good game management. They keep the ball moving, they keep the Chinese moving, more important, the Japanese moving, and tiring them out, and the clock's been wound down all the time. So is he going to be able to, well done. He's a bit firm from the keeper there, but the number 10's got on the end of it, and we're stuck on the boards right by the corner flag on the stand side.
Japan planning another substitution here on this near side. It was interesting to watch the substitute warming up, but the action is in that far corner. We are going to see a corner for Japan, and this will give an opportunity for the substitute to come onto the field and play as well.
Yeah, we've got 56 seconds left, so the Chinese are going to be very keen for this 56 seconds to pass quickly and go in at half-time leading 1-0, and the pressure is going to build on the Japanese.
Off comes Masaki Goto, and on comes the number 11 Kento Tori. Now, I was watching Kento Tori warming up there, and he was just shoulder barging the coach. That was what they were doing over and over and again. It was really interesting, actually, rather like if it was rugby and players sort of hitting the tackle bags before coming onto the field of play. On comes Kento Tori.
Well, as we've seen, Toby, over the last 7 or 8 days, you've got to be tough to play this game. It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
Certainly not. The two players over the ball for this corner on the far side in front of the stand is the number 6 for Japan, Hirabayashi. He's relinquished responsibility to probably the standout performer, Kawamura, for Japan so far. But again, a bit of a stalemate as the two sides lock horn against the kickboard. Back with China, who are just trying to manage their way out of the situation. Zhang is the player down there with the ball at his feet. He's just shielding the number 10 Kawamura away from the ball. And we will see another corner for Japan. 30 seconds left.
Yeah, he got his bearings a little bit wrong there. He's dragged it back ready to play it upfield, and he's dragged it back across the line. So another corner to Japan, as you say, 30 seconds to go.
I'm sure they'll just try to arc their way around here into a more central position before pulling the trigger. Hirabayashi is the player to do just that. Centrally is now on his left foot, choose to sort of orchestrate that onto his right. We're now with 20 seconds remaining, but it goes past the post and will be a goal clearance, which is taken quickly and really just launched downfield very aggressively by the Chinese goalkeeper into Japanese territory. And they just want to see out the rest of this first half now with just over 7 seconds remaining, and we will hear the buzzer any second now, just as China come forward into the Japanese half. One final time, and a shot from range. It was the right decision. It would have counted had it got in.
Yes, I think it would have. The ball sailed past the post millisecond before the hooter went, and half-time here, and the Chinese winning 1-0, and
there we go.
Bit of work for the Japanese to do, I'm afraid.
There you have it. Confirmation at half-time in the men's blind football between Japan and China. China 1 goal to the good, and I'm sure we'll see a replay of that goal again before we break.
We've put the production crew
under pressure there.
Under pressure now, haven't we?
Here it is, yeah. It was Ru Mingzhu that made the break, but we're awarding the own goal in the end to Kawamura.
Yeah, it's definitely 10.
But it comes from the industrious work from Ru Mingzhu to put Japan in that awkward position in the first place. The goalkeeper kind of got a bit confused. It went through his legs initially.
Yes, he didn't fancy the Chinese player at all, did he? He's the biggest player they've got as well as Chinese. He's quite a sizable lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think the keeper took one look at him and thought, I don't fancy this much.
Yeah.
But fair dues to him. The Chinese lad, he didn't give it up, did he? He carried on and turned something out of nothing, really.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. Half-time in the second quarter final. China 1 goal to the good as it stands. And here is now a video for the rules of blind football and a message from IBSA as well.
It's fast, technical and tense. This is your guide to five-a-side football. There are 5 players per team, 4 outfield players and a goalkeeper. The aim of the sport is to score a goal by kicking the ball into your opponent's goal, and at the end of the game, whoever scored the most wins. Players must wear eye shades to ensure that all players have the same level of vision. That is apart from the goalkeepers, who aren't required to wear eye shades and can be fully sighted. Their job is to keep the ball from going in the goal behind them. But how do the players on the field know where the ball, or indeed the goal, is? Well, the ball in blind football is specially designed to make sound whenever it moves. Also, each team has a guide behind the opposition goal to help direct them. Each player is required to shout "Voy" when going for the ball. This ensures every player has the cues they need to help build a picture of what's going on and what to do next in defence or attack. To help this, total silence is required from the crowd until a goal goes in. Voy is Spanish for go, and it was the Spanish who were credited with originally developing blind football in the 1920s. As well as the Paralympics, teams from all corners of the world can compete at World, European, Asian, African and America's Championships, as well as a World Grand Prix.
Blind football can be played by both men and women, with the historic first Women's World Championships coming up in 2023.
So what are you waiting for? Give it a try.
IBSA, International Blind Sports Federation, presents, with the support of the International Paralympic Committee, IBSA Anti-Doping App, the first application of its kind in the Paralympic movement, specifically designed for blind and visually impaired people. Athletes, coaches, medical staff, managers, and the public in general now have a powerful tool to stay focused on the principles of clean sport. Scrolling down the main menu, you can find all the important themes you need to know to play fair and be alert to testing procedures and necessary adaptations for athletes with visual impairments. IBSA gives top priority to anti-doping control, being the only international federation with 3 sports in the Paralympic family: goalball, football, and judo. IBSA Anti-Doping app has external links, namely to WADA, where our sport agents can always find the most updated information, especially the list of prohibited substances and methods. Glory in sport can only be achieved by the athlete's awareness of their rights and responsibilities. You can find them on the IBSA anti-doping app. IBSA is continuously promoting anti-doping education to all its affiliate athletes and sport agents, not only about the consequences of the use of doping and the risk of using supplements. IBSA believes that education is the major tool to fight doping in sport. Informed athletes can make better decisions. Download the app now at the usual operating system stores.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen history being made today.
Such a great team at these championships.
IBSA. Beyond sight. Feel the sport.
Welcome back to the University of Birmingham campus, the sports centre here, namely the 4G pitch that these games are taking place on. It's 1-0 to China in this second quarter final of the day. They're very well supported, China, as well, and they've just waved to their fans that are watching on behind us, behind the gazebo that we're sat in at one end of the pitch. There we are in that little white gazebo just there, and you can see behind the goal lots of fans with Chinese flags as well, waving and supporting their side, and they'll be delighted with what they've seen so far. They played some excellent football in that first half, and I'm sure their tactics won't change in the second either. Just a quick run through of the teams. Japan, their full squad: Sato, Sasaki, Hirabayashi, Goto, Kawamura, Tori, Sonobu, Tanaka, Kuroda, Izumu. And then China: Zhu, Lu, Zhang Yu, Zhu, Wang Li, Zhu, Zhao. And then the guide: Jin Li, Guixin Wang, and Zheng Jidong. Got through that.
Well done, Toby. You've done well there. Yeah. More power to your elbow. As long as you keep doing that and you don't ask me to do it, that'll be great.
But it will be Zhaibin Zhang and Yu Tan Yu to get us back underway. They've got the number 3, Ming Lu, just behind them on the edge of the centre circle. Wide left is Ru Mingzhu, who really orchestrated that opening goal. It was an own goal in the end. But China get things back underway in a similar sort of tactic, with Yu Tan Yu just taking his time, and he squares the ball out to the left-hand side to find his colleague Zhaibin Zhang, who again waits for his moment. Probably is waiting for a call from one of the guides to say attack now. Plays such an instrumental role. Of course, I guess they won't know if one of the Japanese defenders gets pulled away from the action. That's their time to pounce, and that's where the guide comes in to tell them to sort of move forward with gusto.
Yeah, they're very patient, aren't they, switching from side to side, especially with this Japanese team, because they like to get the 4 defenders around the ball, and obviously switching it side to side, it's quite tiring for the Japanese players to keep doing that.
Here's Zhaibin Zhang, who comes away with it after a big coming together in the middle of the park between 2 sets of players. He'll start again. Zhaibin Zhang being patient in possession. Moves out towards the right-hand side, just over the halfway line. Plays a pass pretty much along the line of the halfway line as well to Yu Tan Yu on this near side up against the kickboard. He moves into the centre circle, and they basically just switch sides, the 2 midfielders there. He feels as though he's running into a cul-de-sac, so switches play back to the left, back to Zhang. Japan really haven't had the ball at all yet. They're managing this so well, China, and just allowing the clock to tick down as well. Zhaibin Zhang runs at the defence this time and does lose possession to the Japanese, who get themselves in a bit of a tangle themselves. It's back with Japan through Zhang inside the offensive third. And they're backed into a corner now, Japan, high up the field in their own territory. And the number 3, Sasaki, tries to find a way out. He's supported by Hirabayashi, who comes up over the halfway line at real pace, moves into the offensive third, shoots straight into the gloves of the Chinese goalkeeper, which will suit them because it keeps the clock moving. He rolls it out to the number 3, and again, they're just managing this game so well. Ming Lu, under absolutely no pressure from the Japanese.
No, as I say, they're just trying to draw the Japanese out onto them, and it's very clever. And they're very accurate with these crossfield passes as well. They go to feet, and they give every opportunity for their mate to get it under control and do something with the ball. But Japan are on the attack.
There's a rare loose pass that time that meant the goal clearance was taken quickly from Japan, and now they're right up inside the Chinese half, tucked up against the kickboard in front of the Japanese bench. And they're just trying to find a way out. It's the number 10, Kawamura, and the referee spotted something he doesn't like.
Yeah, it was an obstruction by the Chinese 6, I think. Yeah, it's indirect, so it must have been obstruction. Quite rightly too.
The clock stops with exactly 12 minutes of this second quarter final remaining. Still in the balance. Japan still very much in the game, despite the fact that China are very much in control, and it's brought forward tentatively by Zhabin Zhang. Checks back inside, he's bang on the halfway line. Back onto his left foot he goes. He almost just sort of sizes up a chance to penetrate the Japanese defence, realises he's not going anywhere, and checks back inside. He squares it to his colleague Yu Tan Yu. Yu takes over in a similar sort of fashion, moves into the Japanese half, flirting with moving into the offensive third of Japan's half. Yu comes forward again, checks back, moves back towards the halfway line, taking no chances, no risks. It's a very risk-averse tactic from the Chinese. Their dribbling is that good, they can rely on it. It's now in the defensive third of Japan, about halfway through that defensive third, and Japan are in possession. And they clear the ball away and launch it upfield, a different tactic altogether to that of the Chinese. And China will just watch the ball off the pitch for a goal clearance.
That's the downside of the way they defend, because they defend with 4 players running the ball. If they do win it, they've got no out ball. And, they just punt it forward, and the Chinese just say, oh, thanks very much. We'll just have it for another 30 seconds, and we'll pass it around amongst ourselves, and if you want another ball to play with, there's one behind the goal.
Such a effective tactic that the Chinese are deploying here, taking the complete sting out of the game. At some point, Japan are going to have to go pedal to the metal and try and force something on the Chinese and find a way back into the game. China still a goal up, and I'd love to see the possession stats, but I'd say it's pretty heavily in favour of China, probably something like 80% possession so far in this game, but there is a chance now for Japan against the run of play. The referee puts the thumbs up. The tackle there from the number 3 for China, Ming Lu, was a good one. Play continues, and China are back in possession inside their defensive third, pinned up against the kickboard in front of the Chinese bench. The number 6 takes over, Zhabin Zhang, and he breaks past 2 Japan players and moves up over the halfway line, but there is a foul.
Yeah, it's quite right too. It's a foul, and it's going to be a free kick to the Chinese on their defensive third line. Chinese player was definitely a pull back in that move, and the referee was right there, 2 or 3 meters away. Spotted it, blew the whistle, and it's given them a free kick, and they can go about their passing duties once again.
Off we go again in a similar vein. It's Zhabin Zhang. He's got the out ball on offer over on that far side if he wants to utilise it. He does just that and finds Yu Tan Yu. Those 2 players have seen the vast majority of the ball. China really acting with a sweeper at the back in Ming Lu, and then the striker in Mu Ming Zhu, both just sort of hovering, waiting to be called into action. But at the moment, it's just being played between Zhang and Yu from right to left and left to right, I should say.
Yeah, and they're really clever as well, because they bring the ball across the pitch, one of them. Then his mate, who's been out on the other board, will run really quickly across to the other side of the board, other side of the pitch, to the other board, to give him a passing angle, and it's really clever. But we've got a corner kick now to the Japanese, and we're about to make a sub.
Yep, substitution for Japan as they try to regain the ascendancy in this game. It looks like the number 8 will make way. Masaki Goto. Just as Hirabayashi comes across to take this corner, he will be replaced by the number 5, Kuroda. Kuroda comes on and immediately takes up his position at the back of the D, attacking the Chinese goal. Japan need to do something now. Time is back on. Less than 9 minutes remaining in this second quarter final, but it's won back by China. Brilliant tackle there by the number 6, Zhang, who loses his footing, and it's all the way up in the Japan half, but China force them back, and could be a chance here against the run of play. It will be a corner for China, and immediately from the Japan corner, which they didn't really utilise effectively, we find ourselves back up the other end of the pitch in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and sort of Chang sort of won the ball, and he got upended on the third and was on the floor. But believe it or not, when the ball got into the penalty area at the top end, who was on the end of it? It was Zhang again. He sort of got up and gone full bore after it, and he's forced a corner.
Here are China. Shot from range this time. A kind of hit and hope effort from Ru Mingzhu, the number 11, and it's ricocheted out to the far side in front of the main stand, deep inside Japanese territory. Pinned up against the kickboard remain the Chinese, but they find a way through. It's now with the number 7, Yu. Yu can't quite penetrate into the Japanese D. A trip from the Japanese player as they try to clear their defensive lines. It's now in the middle third, but inside the Japan half, and a bit of a tangling of legs. I think the referee acknowledging there's a safety concern there.
Yeah, there's one from each side on the floor there, and the ball was stuck between them, and it's dangerous. So the referee, who's Mr. Stuart Winton, has said, "Come on, guys, I'll take you to the side and we'll have a bounce up." He's just waiting for a Japanese player to join him, so there's one from each side. He bounce it. He's just checking to make sure everyone else is 5 meters away, which they are now, and off we go.
Hirabayashi dueling with Ru Mingzhu inside the Chinese half now. They go back to their old principles, China now, to take a bit of time with the ball at their feet, but the pass is misplaced this time, which is a rarity through Yutan Yu.
It's a bit of ill discipline from the Chinese there. We don't say that very often, do we? But number 11's upended the Japan number 3 on the halfway line. So that's a free kick to Japan. And what the foul came, no, the foul comes, nothing to worry about.
Free kick for Japan then, just tucked inside their own half, about 2 meters or so. It's taken on by their number 10, Kawamura. Sent down the line up towards number 5, but it will be a corner for the Japanese. And now they're just starting to put a bit of pressure on China as this game wears on.
Yeah, we're halfway through the second half already. It's flown by, and that's mainly down to the Chinese eating up the time on the halfway line. And it's a perfectly good tactic. They're in front, and they don't need to force the issue, where the Japanese really need to start to push on now a little bit.
Here come Japan, and it's another corner straight away. Good defensive work from Zhang, the captain. Corner in the same place, attacking the goal of China at the gazebo end, where the away fans are for China, behind us.
So we've got the coffee end and the gazebo end.
Gazebo end, or the clock tower end, maybe that should be very animated set of Chinese fans up there watching on as this game wears on. Haven't heard too many chants for them in this second half. Maybe there's a few nerves kicking in. I'm waiting for a pyro to go off, and we'll see some flares and...
Oh, let's not hope not. But the ball's right up in the Japanese defensive third against the boards. You've got 2 Japanese players over there, 1 Chinese, and the Japanese players trying to work an angle to get it out of there. They haven't really got a lot of room to work with.
How long is the ball allowed to stay static for in a situation like that?
4 seconds. If it doesn't move within 4 seconds, it's an indirect free kick to the opposition. But they were just rolling the ball a little bit underneath their feet. As long as there's a noise coming from the ball, that's classed as it's moving.
Good defensive work from Japan. All 4 players back behind the ball. And Japan, rather kind of like the Italians, they sort of all defend as one and then attack as one as well, whereas there's sort of set roles really within this Chinese team. We saw the same with Argentina for both the men and the women's side. As China come forward again towards the edge of the D, Japan have other ideas though and clear their lines. But what it does mean is when the ball comes out like that, there's no real target for Japan to aim for. And China regain possession through the number 11, Ru Mingzhu. He moves into the Japan half. The ball is kept in play and then thumped upfield, and there's Chinese players waiting, 3 of which try to peel the ball away from the on-rushing number 5, Kuroda. Here's number 10 for Japan, Hirabayashi. He's got all 4 players around him. He lays the ball off, and now Japan look to move up over the halfway line. The ball is sent out to the right-hand side. Off the kickboard it goes. Number 5, the Kuroda, the substitute.
That's nice and patient and calm play, isn't it? He's won the ball, he's turned around, he just rolled it back to his goalkeeper. And it just kills any little bit of impetus Japan build. It just kills it. And the referee's not happy with someone's shades.
The whistle goes. The referee just checking the eye mask there of Zhebin Zhang. It's really been the referee that's sort of slowed this game down, if anything. There's been barely any stoppages. It's been a free-flowing match. Joy to watch.
Yes, indeed. He's obviously worried about something, but we're back underway again now with a drop ball. And the Chinese have got it on the halfway line. And where'd you bet this is going?
It's good work from the Chinese. And it's all the more reason to do this as the clock ticks down. They don't really need to force another opening. They have the advantage. Looks like we could be heading for another narrow victory in the second quarter-final of the day. Argentina, in a very feisty affair, beating the Italians earlier on today. The Italians seem to have taken a deep breath and rejoined us for this second quarter-final. They're sat up in the stands.
Let's hope they stay there.
This is a fiercely contested game and a big hit against the kickboard down there. We will see a goal clearance now for Japan. Looks like we're going to have a timeout.
It's a timeout, to the Japanese. Yeah, the only time you can call a timeout is when you're in possession of the ball. So obviously, because it's a goal clearance to Japan, they're in possession of the ball, so they can call a timeout. You get one per half per team.
What do the Japanese need to maybe do differently now with 4 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock? Is it to just really commit players a bit further down the field?
Yeah, exactly. Whilst they defend like they do when they're putting 4 players around the ball, every time they win it, they haven't got nowhere to play. So I think they're going to have to sacrifice their defensive capabilities and leave one player a little bit more up front. So when they do win it, they got someone to hit, because there's just nothing to hit at all. And every time they win the ball, they just play it up the pitch, and the Chinese say, well, thank you very much, we're going to have another go. And they're just inviting pressure back on themselves all the time.
Super quickly, foregone conclusion in any of those games that are coming up? Colombia, Iran, can you see past Colombia there?
Well, I love Colombia, the way they play, but it's going to be a really tight game because the Iranians are a good side. France, Brazil, on paper, you've got to say that's Brazil all day long, but watching France this week and the way the Brazilians are playing, it's not Brazil in the ascendancy there. So they're 2 really good games, and 2 games quite difficult to call. So I'll keep me powder dry, Toby, for a while.
Back underway with the Japanese. Kawamura just sends the ball upfield, and it will go all the way through to a goal clearance.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit desperate now, the Japanese. They need to change the formation, and it looks like they have.
Very nonchalantly thrown out by Zhu there, and he finds the number 6, Zhang, who pirouettes through some Japanese bodies, shoots on goal. Fabulous effort, forces a diving stop by Sato in the Japanese goal. It was a lovely mazy run from him, and very close to being game, set and match for the Chinese. But it's Japan back on the attack now. Well defended by number 3 for China, Liu. He's supported now by Zhu, who's tucked into his own half right down there in the corner, and he'll just waste a bit of time. He rattles the ball under his foot and just keeps it moving to appease the referee, who's closely stood behind him.
Oh, it's right on the line now. He's going to do well to keep. No, I didn't think he was going to keep it in the Chinese player. He was right on the line. And because he was trying to keep the ball moving under his foot, he's rolled it backwards and forwards, and it was that close to the line. Just that little bit of movement sent it over the line. So the Japanese have got a corner. But they've definitely changed the way they're playing, because the number 8 now for Japan is playing up front on his own, and they're just using the 3 players at the back to chase the ball around there. So they've got an out ball now.
3-player wall for China, and number 3 for Japan is sort of stood blocking their path to the corner takers. Japan going for broke now. tucked into that corner on the far side. He's sort of arced the whole way around to the other side from the corner that was initially taken nearer the benches here. And now Japan have another corner, but this time in front of the main stand, attacking the gazebo, the away end, as we're terming it, to give everybody their bearings.
Where all the Chinese fans are located, up on the hill. It's not Henman Hill here, it's Chinese Hill. So he's just, you're not missing anything. Number 6 is down, just readjusting his footwear. And I think we're ready to go now. Yep. It doesn't make any difference really with all this. The clock is stopped, so there's no wasting time or anything. So we're ready to go. The referee's just about to blow his whistle, and he does.
If we go again, I think we're going to get a goal kick. This goal clearance, I should say, this time.
And there's a Chinese player injured on the floor, and it looks like they're going to make a change.
We're going to wait for this change head for China. The first half substitute who was then omitted in the game, Haifo Lee, will be the player to come on. He replaces Yutan Yu, who's been a really good performer in this game. Lots of close control, good footwork from him.
Yeah, it works hard together, the Chinese. They've definitely got, it's like a scheme of work, so that the way they play is very disciplined, structured. Everyone seems to know what they have to do in that structure, and it's very effective.
Here's Zhang, but he's stopped in his tracks by Goto.
Yeah, this is the number 8, the Japanese number 8. I said it looks like they've pushed him up. And he's engaging the Chinese much higher than what they were. So when they're trying to play the ball across the pitch, there's a Japanese player now putting pressure on them. You put pressure on them, and that's when they will make a mistake.
Maybe a bit of a surprise that press didn't come a bit earlier from the Japanese. They've left it till late with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's, so we got a free kick to the Chinese. Yes, they've left it to the very last minute to change it. I think I might have given it a little bit longer than that, really, but the coach is he's paid to make the decisions, and that's his decision, and that's what he's going with. Obviously, he thinks 3 minutes is long enough, but...
Free kick taken by the Chinese. Lee is just moving up over the halfway line, but he's robustly challenged by Goto. The two of them two are number 8s, in fact. Goto and Lee just tussling now, move closer to the kickball, still roughly around the halfway line. It's laid off to Zhu. Zhu goes from left to right, and then back left again. Really lovely skill, right up against the kickboard on the near side. One of the Japanese players takes a tumble. He then retreats back to his own half and spreads the play out to that right-hand side. China still in possession, just tucked inside the Japanese half. Now their number 8, Lee, takes it forward, looking to move over into the offensive third in the Japanese half. But he's surrounded by Japanese players. The ball just spills out, still with China. China now on the attack once again, inside the Japanese half. Doing really well here, China, just managing the remainder of this game. Inside 2 minutes remaining. Forward they come once more through Zhang. Zhang looking to maybe go for a second goal and close this game out in the closing stages. One of the Japanese players against the kickboard is on the floor in front of the main stand here on the University of Birmingham campus, the sports campus. That's played across the part there with the intention of finding the goalkeeper, but it's played off.
And it's out for a corner. It was very well misplaced pass back to the keeper. He didn't stand a chance for that.
Well, it suits China perfectly, and they will wander across, ready to take this corner. 1 minute 38 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's a very effective and efficient way of playing football, I would say, the way the Chinese do it. And they've only went expansive once, really, and that was when it was a no-hope ball in towards the keeper. One of the players has followed it in, created some pressure, and they've got a goal from it, and be it an own goal, they won't worry about that at all. And it looks to me like that's going to be enough to send them into the semi-final.
The Iranians are here and warming up. I just caught them out the corner of my eye ahead of the quarter-final 3. We've still got 1 minute and 30 seconds left of quarter-final 2. China managing the game really nicely just inside their own half. They will have to be careful, though. If they are dispossessed, they find themselves in hot waters, just as Well, quite frankly, Heifu Lee is thrown against the kickboard as Japan tried to force the issue. It's fallen through to Ru Mingzhu, who will again try and keep control for the ball as long as possible. We're approaching the final minute now. Japan, though, on the attack. China still in possession, though, inside their own half, but it's fallen back in favour of the Japanese. Is there a late goal here? Could we see some late drama? 50 seconds remain. Japan on the attack down that left-hand side. A chance for Japan now, but it will go out for a goal clearance.
He's overrun it. We've seen in the last couple of minutes now, Japan are engaging China much higher up the pitch, and all of a sudden they look like they could build a little bit of pressure up and get a goal. Just wonder why he didn't do it a little bit earlier.
That's a great pass just to kill some time, and now it's with the number 6 for China to try and close out the game. He is dispossessed high at the field inside the final 30 seconds, I should say, just as Japan try to launch an attack, but they're thwarted on the halfway line by the Chinese. Here come Japan again, though. Still feel as though there's some late hope in this game. They are running out of time. It's ticking away. 10 seconds to go now. As the Chinese hold firm up against the kickball, they're just going to wind down the clock now. The referee's happy with what he's seeing. He's still moving the ball effectively, and the buzzer will go. And China have done it. Number 11, the man that orchestrated the first goal, Ru Mingzhu, kisses the ball in delight.
There's a bit of joy going on there, isn't there?
Shirts are off, tops are off as well.
He's waving his shirt round above his head. They've worked really well there, the Chinese. And as I said, it's a very efficient way of playing, but it's effective. And, to be fair, the Chinese goalkeeper's not had that much to do, really, has he? And they're through to the semi-finals.
Absolutely. They set up a semi-final as they delight the Chinese fans in the away end down there, as we're terming it, the gazebo end. They go across as well to shake the hands of the referees, and there's confirmation of the final score. An own goal, we feel, for Kawamura was the difference in the end, but China very much in control. We'll just see the goal one final time, and then we will leave you ahead of the fixtures for the rest of the day. There are the confirmation of the fixtures there. Colombia take on Iran next. We'll have coverage of that from 12:20. Then France versus Brazil at 2:30, and then later fixtures to decide the lower place finishes between Thailand and Germany and Spain and Morocco.
Yes, if you want to see an all-action display, come back at 12:20, because the Colombians, they are something else, honestly. They're so enthusiastic and fast. It'll be a good game, that one.
Well, there you have it then, the final score here on the pitch here at the University of Birmingham campus. Japan go to say thank you to the fans watching on in the crowd there. They are defeated in the second quarter final of the day. We'll be back at 12:20 with the next quarter final, what is Super Tuesday. So we're going to leave you then with a short video which explains the rules of the game, and then we'll see you at 12:20. The final score here, Japan 0, China 1.